We are on to our Sunday slate here now. The early window, 49ers at the Browns. This one's sitting at 5.5. It was 6.5 yesterday, and it has actually moved in favor of the Browns a point at 5.5. So let's be honest, Brock Purdy was awful on Monday Night Football against the Panthers defense. That isn't bad, but this Cleveland defense is elite, and they're at home this week. I'm going to take the Browns at 5.5. As much as Sanders will probably have a letdown game after having having a pretty good first start to his NFL career. I think he'd have a better chance than, say, Dylan Gabriel in this situation to keep this game close. And as far as the 49ers defense, Carolina was able to move the ball up and down the field against that defense. It was more on Bryce Young's interceptions and Dave Canales all of a sudden switching up his aggressiveness, and that cost him that game. So I'm going to take the Browns here at home. Their defense just smothers teams.
First disagreement. I look at this as a Robert Saleh versus Shadur Sanders in start number 2 in his career, and I see it's under a touchdown at -5.5. This could be an ugly game. Like you said, the Browns defense will probably make the 49ers offense in hell, but they do still have Christian McCaffrey, so they can lean on him. And yeah, I like the 49ers here at -5.5. Plus, Browns, bad team coming off a big win. That's the rule I always follow.
Okay.
When a bad team plays well in a week, always bet against them the next week. So that's what I'm going to do here. 49ers -5.5. Our first disagreement. Okay, our next 2 games to talk about are 2 AFC South matchups. First one, Jaguars at the Titans. Jaguars are 6.5-point favorites. The Titans are playing their, I believe, 4th consecutive home game. It's amazing. Like we're talking about this in the offseason. So there's 5 Sundays in November. They have 4 home games. They had 4 home games in a bye week. Like I don't know how the NFL just probably didn't pay too much attention to the Titans and didn't realize
if any team needed it, it's Tennessee.
Yeah. But you could argue, I mean, the Titans are bad, but they've taken advantage of that because they've covered in 3 straight games. The Seahawks are a good team, and they were able to backdoor cover there. So, I mean, they're playing with more spirit than they had earlier in the year. Having said that, though, they are a bad team, and I think this is where they're not going to cover a 4th straight game.
I thought you'd be on me with this one.
I know Jacksonville is the most inconsistent team, arguably probably in the league. So yes, this isn't one I like to do, but I could see Jaguars winning by as long as it's under a touchdown. I'm going to go with the Jaguars here. That's the safe.
I do not think I could pick or put any money on Trevor Lawrence the rest of this season. I am out on Trevor Lawrence. And I think Liam Cohen is too. He just, when they pan over to the sideline, he is just frustrated because Trevor Lawrence just does not, he doesn't learn from his mistakes. He just does the same thing over and over again. He played awful in that game. They won, but he played awful. And at 6.5, I'll take it. Tennessee's, like you said, they're playing with some spirit, but in division game on the road, Jaguars, even against the Titans, I should not be getting 6.5 in this. To me, it's also my sidestep of the week because, again, I wouldn't trust Titans to pull off 4 straight covers. But yeah, that would be my stay away for this week. But I'll take the Titans at 6.5. All right, this one's the better one of the 2 in the AFC South. Texans at the Colts. This one's sitting at 4.5 in favor of Indy. Texans, we know in this game that the best unit on the field will be the Texans defense. I think the Colts have been kind of been brought back down to earth after a really strong start to the season. But in my opinion, the pickups of having Sauce and Ward in that secondary, they did a lot of good things against Kansas City. I think really the loss to Kansas City was just bad play calling offensively towards the end of that game. Just basically helped KC get back into it and ultimately win that one. So at 4.5, I do like Indianapolis. I like Jonathan Taylor to have a really big game back home on that turf against this Texans defense. Maybe not as much in the passing game for Jones, but I think at 4.5, under a touchdown, I think I like Indy in this one.
This is the first home game for the Colts in about a month. And so Houston is coming off of a long break. They played on Thursday night last week. I think that advantage is canceled out by their good win, win against a good team. I think those two things cancel each other out, so due for a letdown. And yeah, I normally don't bet the Colts, but I actually really like them this week. I like the Colts at -4.5 because, like I said, they haven't played at home in a month. I think they're due for a good performance there. Texans are just due for a loss. I feel like at this point, I'm assuming CJ Stroud's playing.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't, but their offense has looked kind of. It hasn't really looked any different when
Honestly,
Davis
it's looked
this year.
better with Davis Mills
Maybe
at
you could
times,
argue
but
it's looked a little better at times. Yeah, so I don't think him coming back is going to make much of a difference offensively for them. But yeah, you're right about the Colts defense. I mean, you just look at time of possession of that Chiefs game. That was, I mean, yeah, the Colts defense did everything they could to win that game. They just got gassed at the end because the Colts offense decided, oh, we'll just throw three incompletions each drive and burn no time, and then have our defense have Mahomes and company play our defense. So yeah. But yeah, they look good for the most part, and yeah, I like the Colts at -4.5. Okay, Dolphins Saints or Saints at Dolphins. Dolphins are home favorites at -5.5. Miami's coming off a bye. They've won 3 of their last 4. They've looked like a respectable team in these last 4 weeks, and I think that'll continue mostly due to the team because of the team they're playing. Yeah, I think that was my best pick last week was taking the Falcons over the Saints because every indication was saying pick the Saints, but I'm just like, yeah, it just seemed like a Falcons win. And yeah, we saw the Saints are still terrible. You could argue now that the Titans have been playing better recently that the Saints might be the worst team in the league. It's debatable. They'll face each other later in the year, so they'll get to battle off to see who is worse. But yeah, at Dolphins at home under a touchdown. I like that -5.5 against a bad team. I could see guys like A-Chain and Waddle having a big game.
yeah, yeah. Not going to spend too much time here. Dolphins 5.5. They wear their whites at home in that heat in Miami. The Saints will have to wear the black uniforms. They're going to be gassed by the end. So, yeah, I picked the Saints first time all year. Last week didn't work. Never doing it again. So yeah, give me the Dolphins at 5.5. I'll be on with that one. Falcons at the Jets. This one's sitting at 2.5 in favor of Atlanta after their win against the Saints last week. Should be Kirk Cousins again this week for the Falcons, and I do not like Cousins as a favorite on the road. Give me the Jets at +2.5. They were able to keep it close with the Ravens. Say what you want about the Ravens, but that was a gutsy performance by the Jets. And at home, I'd put money line on this one. I think the Falcons lose this in New York. I'll take the Jets here.
This is my do not bet game, or what are we calling it now?
Yeah, the
The
sidestep of the
sidestep
week.
stay away game. Yes, this is mine because yeah, like you said, the Jets played respectably last week. I don't know if I want them doing that again, but they're also facing a Falcons team where you don't really know who's going to show up. Um, so yeah, I would like this to go to 3, and then I'd be more confident in the Jets. But I'm still going to take the Jets at +2.5. Like I said, this is my stay away game. But yeah, I just don't like either of these teams. But the Jets have been showing a little more fight recently, and the way the Falcons have been playing, they usually follow up good performances with awful performances. So I could see that happening at MetLife on Sunday. Okay, and then is this last one a 1 o'clock game as well? Cardinals
I
at
believe
Bucks.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, wow, a lot of 1 o'clock games this week. This is my favorite bet of the week. I like Tampa at -3 because there's no hook. Buccaneers have not been playing as well as they had earlier in the year, but with Baker Mayfield at the helm and with a bunch of winners, simply just put winners on their roster and Todd Bowles as coach, they're just due. They're due for a bounce back win. They just are. I feel like this is the perfect opportunity at home against the Cardinals team that has to travel, a team that plays indoors, has to travel to the East Coast, play outdoors in the hot Tampa heat. I love the Buccaneers here at -3.
Yeah, this was a tough one for me because I think we're gonna probably see Teddy Bridgewater for the Tampa Bay. So um, it was better at 2.5. I like the number there, but I do like the Bucks at 3. Cardinals just haven't had a great year. They haven't figured out the defense, and yeah, whether it's Bridgewater or it's Baker, I do like the Bucks in this situation. They need to get back on track. This would be a good get right game for them against Jacoby Brissett. It was I've tried banging that drum with Brissett, and it just hasn't worked the past couple weeks. So, yeah, give me the Bucks at -3. We actually do have one more 1 o'clock
Oh
game
yeah,
here. It's
man.
Rams at going on the road to travel to Carolina uh, with a 10.5 point spread. Uh, this is crazy. I mean, even how bad the Panthers played on Monday Night Football, 10.5 points at home. This is my dirty dog of the week. I'm taking the Panthers at plus 10.5. Look, I've said it before, and while the Rams might have done what they needed to do and get a big win at home and a pretty wide margin, they typically don't blow out a lot of teams. McVay is notorious for letting up on the gas late in games when they do have a lead, and I could see a backdoor cover by the Panthers here. Could even see this be a win for the Panthers with the Rams being one of the hottest teams, and everyone's going to be riding high, picking this team on this spread and probably on the money line. This could be a potential, just upset spot for the Panthers in this situation. I will take them at plus 10.5.
Yeah, I don't see that at all. Bryce Young is still terrible.
Uh,
I do agree. The backdoor cover is what scares me. And yes, I also this game was just a hair under the Jets Falcons in my stay away game because I just don't. I mean, I don't trust the Panthers against competent teams. But the Rams are coming off a huge win, traveling out east at 1 o'clock. So yeah, that 10.5 I don't like very much. But if I have to pick, I'm going to go with the Rams. Probably good that you picked the Panthers, just so one of us can get it right. But yeah,
Sucks for the Panthers having to face Shanahan and McVay in back-to-back
yeah,
weeks. That's crazy.
yeah. But I mean, the Rams are the best team in the NFL to me right now,
Yep,
and
I would agree.
I think the Panthers are a team that you could face and expose even more when you're that good. And I think that's what they'll do. I think they'll cover one by 2 touchdowns, in my opinion. So Rams -10.5. Don't like, but that's what I'm going to go with. Okay. Evening games. There's only three. I don't know. Yes, weird schedule. There's only three. Vikings at the Seahawks. Seahawks are 10.5 point favorites. Here, JJ McCarthy is not likely to play. So who is that? Who is starting for them now? What's his name?
It's like Max Bozeman or something like
Okay,
that.
yeah, 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 and that's why Seahawks are going to cover -10.5.
Yeah, I've got Seahawks here too. It just uh, playing this, especially the Sam Darnold spent on this, playing his former team who let him go, and I think he's going to want to run up the score on his former team. Um, God, my thoughts go straight to what are the Vikings front office and Kevin O'Connell thinking right now as they had put their trust in McCarthy, letting go of Sam Darnold, letting go of Daniel Jones, because remember they had him on the depth chart, and they're both having pretty incredible seasons up to this point. Um, man, the McCarthy move. They're going to probably have to draft another quarterback because this has been one of the worst starts to a career for any quarterback that I've seen. I mean, I've seen stats where like he's coming in worse than Jamarcus Russell did when he came into the league.
I didn't like him out of Michigan. Like I just thought I couldn't judge if he was good or not because he was just surrounded by a whole bunch of talented guys, and that's why I did.
And that was the knock on him. And I trusted that he came from a winning organization, and with Michigan, I thought he was going to have a great career. But and look, he could turn it around, but this week he won't get that opportunity, and they might just keep him out for the rest of the year.
You also can't blame the Vikings for sticking with him because I mean they invested. I mean they invested that pick unless their analysis of him was just terrible. Then yeah they deserve all the blame. But I
A
mean
lot of this is on KOC for
yeah
this.
yeah exactly yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm going Seahawks. This could
Plus
get real ugly.
Seahawks are due for a big blowout now. They've lost to the Rams 2 weeks ago, and they kind of won ugly against the Titans. So
Let the Titans backdoor cover. Yeah.
returning home against the depleted and struggling Vikings team. Yeah, I like the Seahawks.
Yeah, and it could be a good matchup for the Vikings defense. This would be the one unit that could keep them in the game, going up against Darnold. But because they know Darnold, I mean they practiced with him for a whole year last season. But I just
Darnold
it's
also
not.
knows them.
Yeah, exactly. So give me the Seahawks too there, 10.5. All right. Bills at the Steelers. This one I think is still sitting at that 3.5. Still got the hook there in favor of the Bills. We get the Mike Tomlin home dog situation here, and I'll take it, and you're going to win this one more times than not, especially with the hook over a field goal. Just whoever's quarterback, I don't care. Give me the Tomlin home dog 3.5. Don't have to spend too much time on this one.
Yes, I love the hat. I love the hook. I agree, and I didn't even. I assumed you would take that. You would take that spin on it, and so I wrote other stuff. Bill's defense is just not very good. Like I could see like the Steelers with Jalen Warren and Gainwell. I could see them having nice games. Steelers are desperate too. I mean, they've lost the AFC North lead, coming off a loss, returning home. Yeah, I also really like the Steelers at plus 3.5.
And Allen
Um,
hasn't played that well either. Like
no, he
it
hasn't
hasn't
played
been.
well. His
It's
O
just been a
line just got exposed against the Texans, and now who they're playing? Oh, T.J. Watt. So.
if it feels like quarterback play just hasn't been that great outside of Stafford and like Drake May. It feels like quarterback play just hasn't been
No, it hasn't.
up to par with most seasons. And
It makes you wonder.
Allen's
It
another
makes you
guy.
wonder if defenses have gained the advantage this year, which I think they have. To be
And say
honest,
what you want about the Steelers defense, they're you know they could show up, they could have a game like they did last week and give up over 30, but I would still just take the rah spot here with Tomlin at 3.5.
Mhm. Okay, Raiders at the Chargers. Chargers are minus 9.5. I really like this one too. I'm surprised it's not higher, if we're being honest, because Chargers have had 2 weeks to get that ugly taste out of their mouth from Jacksonville. They're playing a Raiders team that looks like they've given up on the season. They're at home, but I mean, if the Raiders are still faithful to their team, they'll pack that stadium, but I don't think it'll matter. Chargers beat them real bad last time they played at Vegas. So, yeah, give me the Chargers here at minus 9.5 to bounce back after a long break.
I think the Chargers could roll anybody out on defense. They're going to get to Geno Smith because that O line for the Raiders, I think, is worse than Cincy's. And it's going to be a problem. I think Herbert's going to have a really good game. He's going to feast on this Raider defense. Yeah, 9.5, like you said, I actually like it under 10 a lot. This was a potential lock of the week for me on the situation, but yeah, 9.5 Chargers, easy pick for me. All right, this will be the Sunday night football game. Broncos at the Commanders. This one's still sitting at 6.5 in favor of Denver. This is a tough one because we still don't know the status of Jaden Daniels. I really want to be on Washington this week. Just it's at home, coming off a bye. It's a kind of it is under a touchdown, but it is a pretty big spread even for a Denver team that you know t- you never know if they're going to give up 30 plus like they did a couple of these games. You think of the Giants game where they had to mount a huge comeback. I could see this being just an upset spot here for Denver. Under a touchdown, I'll go with Denver now just because I don't know the status of Daniels, but I don't love this one.
Yeah, Commanders have been awful these past few weeks. They've been losing by 20, I think. And they lost by 20 in like 4 consecutive games or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, the NFL needs this one to be close because how this game didn't get flexed, I have no idea. Because Commanders are what 3-8. I mean, yeah. I'm in agreement with you. I don't love this pick, but if it's under a touchdown, I'll go with the Broncos as well, -6.5. There's no traveling out east excuse because they're coming off of a bye week, so they've had plenty of time to rest. And yeah, Broncos are just the better team, so I'll take them at -6.5. And then Monday Night Football, the Patriots are once again playing another really tough team against the New York Giants. And the rule I always stick with, I mentioned it in the, which game was that? 49ers Browns. Yep, I'm sticking with this rule. When a bad team plays well for a week, really well, they're going to bet. You're going to want to bet against them the next week. And 7.5. This game reminds me a lot of the Jets Patriots game just a couple weeks ago. That was at New England, where it was like, yeah, it was kind of a touchdown lead the whole time, and the Patriots finally scored an extra one and covered the spread. And I like that here. I could see this being very like a touchdown size game, and then Patriots score at the end, and then cover that 7.5. Winston usually doesn't. At this point in Winston's career, he usually doesn't have two great games in a row. Like you get the why doesn't he start for all these teams? And then like we've already seen it. We've already seen you put Winston on this team right now, they're better than they are. And then the next week he plays absolutely terrible, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's why that's why he's not. So give me the Patriots -7.5 on Monday Night Football.
I mean, at some point, this Patriots team has got to lose, right? I mean,
Yeah, but when they play a competent team, yes, I agree. Yeah.
I kind of like the hook here for the Giants. We could see Dart this week. That could be a factor in this one. But I think every game you do get the full Jameis Winston experience, and I think that could at least keep this close. And I am going to go the Giants here at plus seven and a
Mm-hmm.
half. Oh, this could be one of those that I look back next week and be like, why didn't I just not think so hard on this? I just think at some point, under the bright lights of Monday Night Football, this could be a spot where Drake May has a letdown, and someone who maybe more experienced than Jameis Winston. Say what you want about him. They're on a run here that I could see them at least covering this one. I don't think they'll win, but give me the Jameis Winston experience with this one at plus 7.5.
It really is amazing just how fortunate the Patriots got with their schedule this year. Like you can't blame them; they can only play who's in front of them. But so how the schedule works is like in the AFC, you play your whole division plays another whole division, and then they play one other team from each of the other two divisions. So the AFC East this year played the North, and which has been kind of weak this year. Well, arguably easily the weakest division in the AFC. And then you have in the other two divisions, the South and the West, you have three teams in each division who are fully in contention for a playoff spot, and then two teams that are just clearly at the bottom of the standings. And who do the Patriots play? Oh, they play the Titans and the Raiders this year. Who do they avoid playing? The Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, Colts, Jaguars, and Texans. avoiding playing all those teams. I mean, they really need to take advantage of this because, um, like they'll never. I don't think a team will ever have this kind of an easy schedule again.
Now I wonder if this hurts the Patriots in the long run, having a season like this with a bad schedule where they could have an
Where they
overblown record that
overachieve
against
and
the
then yeah,
right, and then next season
yeah.
they have to play a first place schedule, and we see what this team really is. I just don't think they're that good, and that's why I'm taking the Giants here at plus 7.5.
They're good. They're good, not great. They're good, not great. That's my opinion of them. If they had a normal schedule, I think they would be right about where the Chargers or the Jaguars, the Texans are.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the
All
moment.
right, that is our weekly signature segment, the spreadsheet with our picks against the spread. We'll both look to bounce back on a positive note this week after a rough week last week.